episode number 98 with Mike and Carlos. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton, and thank you for tuning in. We are getting the band back together, and I'm here with Mike and Carlos. Welcome, gentlemen.
I'm glad to be here,
Hello,
Steve.
Right on. How'd your spa treatment go, Mikey?
My what?
No, didn't you say you were at a spa?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. No, I said I get a lot of back rubs at the casino.
Oh, I thought today when we were talking on the phone, you said you were about to jump in the spa or something.
Oh, the hot tub. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was picturing something very different. I was picturing you laying down on a table with the cucumbers over your eyes.
This conversation didn't happen, Steve. Did you have a dream about the two of us naked, bare ass, walking around some resort? You're getting me nervous there. I'm sorry. I'm very defensive.
How you been, Carlos?
Great, man. No complaints.
What's that?
No complaints.
No complaints, right on. Good deal. Good deal. You've since moved out to the West Coast a bit, right? You're living in Vegas?
I'm actually in Laughlin.
Oh, you're in Laughlin. Okay.
Yeah. The plan was Vegas, but then I realized it was way cheaper down here.
Okay.
So I decided on this area.
Okay. Cool.
Steve, let's be honest. Let's start with here. Carlos is overexposed. There's nothing new to really hear. Just hang out in the background and try not to get in the way as me and Steve talk.
If I'm not overexposed enough, I will be by the time this World Series is over, because I'm going up to the main event final table. I may just straight streak across the bracelet.
You know, it's funny. I was sure that we'd at least get a little peek of me and you in the background, hanging over the rail and Chris. I didn't. Did you see yourself on the final, the main event coverage on ESPN?
I think I might have got more coverage than Chris, but that's not saying much.
Oh, really?
They did him pretty dirty also. But I saw him and I having a conversation off to the side, but unfortunately it was like shot from the knees down. But I could recognize, my knees in the Rio pretty easy.
Oh.
Not a lot of black guys on the rail, basically.
Patented Carlos shorts.
Yep, exactly.
So what are you doing out in Laughlin? Mike was saying when you were in Vegas, you were living in one place during the week, and then on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays you would go into Vegas and you would play at the casinos, and then go back out to your little knit cave and grind it up.
Paradise by the river there.
Well, the one place I was living is Laughlin. So I basically was looking for a knit cave, which for those that don't know, is like a cheap office in Vegas that I could rent. And I was looking for one. I found one that was about $300 a month. But when I went to get it, they were not ready to let me come in yet. And so it was on a Sunday, and my plan was to just get the office and then grind that Sunday. And once I realized I couldn't get it, I needed to find someplace else to grind on Sunday. And I looked for rooms in Vegas, and they were all too expensive. But in my search, I realized that there were really cheap rooms down in Laughlin. So I drove from Vegas to Laughlin to get a room to grind in. And I ended up finding a nice hotel down here where I could get a room from Sunday to Thursday for a total. That week it was a total of $92, including all taxes, resort fees. So basically like $18 a day.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, hell, for this price, I don't even need a knit cave. So instead of getting an office, what I've been doing now is staying at the hotel in Laughlin from Sunday through Thursday. And then on Fridays and Saturdays, I'll drive up to Vegas. I'll drive up to Vegas on Friday morning and play at the Wynn Friday and Saturday. And then while I'm in Vegas, I just stay in the van for the weekend. And then when Sunday rolls around, I drive back down. And I've basically been doing that for like the past 4 weeks.
Oh, cool.
Where do you park the Knitmobile in Vegas? Aren't they like charging for parking now? Isn't that what's happening? Or
No, I park at the Wynn for free.
Yeah, I was going to say,
okay.
I doubt Carlos is paying for parking. I would put quite a bit of money on that.
Well, I knew that too. I wasn't sure if he was just going up on somebody's lawn though. You know?
They're charging to park at like Aria, MGM, like the casinos in that area. But once you come further up the strip, they don't charge for parking. But
Okay.
I don't sleep in the parking decks anymore. I found a real nice, cozy auto zone on the other side of town. So that's why I park behind.
What's the temperature this time of year right now in the evening? How's the sleeping going? Is it freaking miserably hot?
Like 80s, like low 80s. It's not bad at all.
No, that's not too bad. You can keep the windows down a little bit, and you get yeah, that's not bad. Okay.
Carlos needs real extremes to get uncomfortable, like 22 degrees or 104, right? He's got like an 80-degree window where he can suck it up and live with it. I think.
Yeah. I've definitely during the summer I stayed in the van a couple of times. It was in the 90s, and I was fine. And in Cherokee, I stayed in the van. I think it was 27 degrees, and I slept in my patented Carlos shorts. And when I tried to get out of the van the next day, I couldn't because the ice had frozen the door closed. But I was fine.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I got a wide range when it comes to sleeping temperatures.
When you're in Laughlin, are you grinding online, or are you playing live cash, or what are you doing?
Grinding online. I don't even leave the room half the time. If the fewer number of humans I can see in a week, the better. Yeah.
What's the name of the place you're staying?
Colorado Bell.
Colorado Bell?
It's it's weird. It's like shaped like a
giant boat, right?
Like a river cruise ship.
Yeah, like one of those old giant steamboats. Yeah. I was out there during the WSOP with my brother for the weekend, and we stayed at what's the one that Don Laughlin? Riverside. Yeah, I got to meet him. That was kind of cool. Yeah, we stayed there. It's the one all the way on the north end of the river, and then the Colorado Bell. That's about halfway down. I think it's like one of the middle ones, if I remember.
Yeah, I just picked the cheapest one that was livable, and it's pretty nice. I would say it's probably similar to Gold Coast quality, but the rooms here are bigger than Gold Coast, and for the price, you can't beat it. $18, everything included, can't beat it.
Nice.
Sure.
Well done, man.
Now, it's interesting you said, it's funny because I just listened to you doing on the Thinking Poker podcast today.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about the cool thing about living in Vegas is, you get to see everyone when they come into town.
Yep.
You don't have to travel to see all your poker. So it was just, but you just said the less people you see, the better. Have you had a weekend yet where at the Wynn where you just like, hey, I just want to play poker this weekend. I don't want to have lunch with anyone or talk to anyone or.
No, when people are around and they invite me out, I go. But at the same time, I am starting to have that thought that I'm better off when I'm alone, mainly because it's like I have zero, and you know this, Mike, from experience, zero willpower when it comes to food. So if somebody invites me out, to them it's just like a normal lunch with a friend. For me, it's a 2-week bender because once I get started, it takes a long time for me to stop. So I think I'm just now coming off the bender that I started at your place with that pizza, which was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so, Carlos turned down a bag of Skittles I tried to give him.
I tried, man. I turned down the Skittles.
This was like little 13-year-old Carlos coming out of math studies, and like somebody's trying to go out and give him a crack pipe, and he's giving that dead-eyed stare at him. No, you're not messing up with my shit.
So I go over to Mike's place, right, and then when I show up, he's got like 2 large pizzas, and I'm already shaking my head like, damn, this is exactly what I don't need when I get sucked out on the river is to have like the smell of pizza in the next room.
Yeah.
And that happened. And I think out of the 2 pizzas, like 16 slices, I'm pretty sure I ate like 12 slices. Yeah. It is
Carlos,
like,
you hungry? No. And I look a little minute later, and I can actually see his teeth marks in the cardboard of the box there.
Yeah, that's basically how it happens. And like when I'm in this room by myself, it's like beans and mushrooms. That's pretty much it every day. But you know, when I go out, I had a friend from back home, from high school who doesn't play poker, but her and I went to the Grand Canyon, and so I spent a couple of days with her at the Grand Canyon, and I also just came back from a trip home to Atlanta, and so like whenever I'm out socializing with people, I just fall completely off the wagon. But that's it.
I have a hard time with that when at work.
Oh
It's
God,
tough for
yeah.
me.
Work is the worst.
Yeah, people come to the fire station and they bring ice cream, cookies, and that shit's just always sitting there right on the counter. You know what I mean? God.
It's kind of the same thing as a teacher. Like when I was a teacher, there was this one lady that taught at the same school I did. Every day she would bring in like a dozen Publix donuts, and she would never eat them. She would just bring them for everybody else. And I was like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I have no willpower around this stuff. So I personally try to avoid it. But, you know, my friends, they bring it around, and then I end up eating all of it. So, yeah, it sucks. And I think next week, another week or two, I think Killing Bird will be coming to town. A week after that, or maybe the week before that. My buddy Briar is coming to town, so yeah, it's gonna be tough living in Vegas with, you know, everybody wants to go out and have lunch. Like nobody says, "Hey, Carlos, you want to go to the park and talk?" Nobody ever says that. It's like you always have to have food around when you meet with your friends for some reason.
Right. Yeah, that is funny. Why that's the center of the social. Well, of course, a lot of times it's, hey, do you want to go to get a beer? But everybody knows you don't drink either. So.
Right. That's one way I've been getting around it is just like going to the bar and then they drink and I'll have like Diet Coke or something.
But anyways, the funny thing, just listening to you talk about how you don't, you get to see everyone in Vegas. I'm like, it's probably Laughlin is probably is kind of your happy time too, obviously. Not just for money reasons. You're alone.
Yeah, I
right?
actually sent a tweet out about that. So I went to Atlanta. I went to a concert and, you know, saw family and friends, went to the Grand Canyon, played poker at the Wynn, all the stuff that normal people think is like, oh, this is like fun vacation mode. I could not wait to be done with all that stuff so I could come back to Laughlin in a room by myself for a week, eat beans, and play $10 tournaments on Nevada. That is like heaven to me.
Laughlin's it's like Griffin, Georgia. There's just a casino there for you, pretty much, right?
Not really. It's more like Bingham's. Like the type of people that come to Laughlin is like all like old retirees, and so in a way, it's like it's not people that I would socialize with. Anyway, so I almost feel like I got the whole town to myself. Like there's stuff going on around town, like rodeos. Like I probably won't be invited to a rodeo. I want to say like REO Speedwagon is like performing at the hotel while I'm staying. So basically, I'm the only person in this town in my mind.
Have you tried any of the cap games yet? They do have poker rooms out there, but I didn't play any on the weekend I was out there.
Because of the clientele that comes here, at least in the hotel where I'm staying, like the cash game is like 1-2 limit or something. And not interested in that. I did walk down there. They also have daily tournaments. It's like a $35 buy-in with like $13 rake. So yeah, I'll never play here.
Yeah.
There is a Harrah's though. There's a Harrah's at the other end, and I think they may have like 1-2 no limit, and maybe better daily tournaments, but nothing is going to beat the win. So I'll just wait till the weekends to play that stuff. I'd rather play online than live anyway. So, and the only reason I don't stay here on the weekend is because the prices go up on the weekend. And now on the weekend, I don't have anywhere to stay. So nothing better to do. So I basically just live in the win on the weekends for as long as I can before I bust a tournament. That's the only way I can stay in a hotel casino for free is playing the win tournament, and then when it's time to sleep, I just hit the van.
Yeah. And what buy-in tournaments are you doing at the Win? They got that 150 daily one, right?
Well, on the weekends it's a little bit higher, so it's a $200 buy-in, but there's a $100 add-on, so I just considered a $300 buy-in. I
don't know if I'm sure I've played that one, but I just can't remember. I remember their daily 150, and then that's the only one I remember. And what's the rake like?
Super low. That's why I like the Win. Like you said, a 150. The 150s, I want to say they take like $15 or something. And if you play at like Caesars, I want to say they took $40 out of 150. This tournament that I play, it's a $200 buy-in with a $100 add-on, and they take $20 rake, I think.
Wow.
Have you had to say hi to Angelique yet, by the way, my favorite masseuse there?
I have no idea what she looks like. Like, they all look the same to me. And as far as I know, they don't have name tags. So
SWBs, they're all skinny white bitches to Carlos. So
basically, they all look like either Kim Kardashian or Paris Hilton. That's basically the Win.
They know how to. Steve Wynn knows how to hire him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny. Carlos we went to. Carlos railed me at the Hawaiian Gardens tournament, which I said was really soft. But from playing the Win, he this looks tough. You know, I recognize people here.
Yeah, I saw Barry Greenstein. Like the people at the Win. Like, there was one guy who I made the final table with the night before, and when I came back the next day to play on Saturday, he was at my starting table, and he was talking about how somebody mentioned, like, yeah, that was a crazy bubble last night, huh? He was like, what's a bubble? See, these are the type of people I want to play against.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was going to say the $200K $1,100 tournament Ocean started today. There's 3-day ones. I'm playing tomorrow, but I got on the little WPT blog to look at it, and I was thinking this is like, and first two pictures I saw were like WPT champs who are down here fucking in Ocean's 11, the smallest goddamn casino, playing a $200K.
Yeah,
it's pretty ridiculous.
It really is. I hate seeing people I know.
So Carlos, you got off to a hot start at the Win there. Do you get a little spoiled now? I mean, if you have a weekend where you don't cash or run deep in these things, is that frustrating?
Not one weekend. If I go 2 weekends in a row without cash, and I think it's rigged, like Donald Trump. Like the before I went on my Atlanta trip, I had a weekend where I got third for 2K and then first for 5K. So like 7K over the 2 days. And I want to say that next weekend I didn't cash either. And then this past weekend I got sixth in one of them for 1,600 and didn't cash the other one. So as long as I cash once on every 2 trips, then I'm fine. Anything other than that, I'm asking a lot of questions to the staff.
This ballot box is rigged.
Basically, yeah.
Speaking of politics, I was like stunned to see that you were tweeting and obviously watching the debate the other night. Or I guess that was last night.
Yeah. And then also,
is this pure entertainment for you, or are you kind of impassioned a little bit about?
It's definitely pure entertainment for me. It's basically just a rap battle for old white people, and so that I look at it as entertainment at this point because they're both buffoons. So
okay,
you know, gotta give something.
It looks like you're gonna win, right?
Yeah.
She's definitely highly favored.
I mean, that's almost written in stone. The odds in Vegas right now have Trump at like plus 500 or something ridiculous if you want to bet on him.
Yeah, definitely a long shot for him.
No, Steve, I was just picturing you showing up at this fire, and you take the hose, and there's actually jet fuel in the hose that you're spraying everywhere. Because as insufferable and bad as the debate is, I was just laughing to myself. Imagine if Steve was the moderator.
I don't know. I kind of get where you're coming from, but I guess my take is they're both like, I'll put it this way. Hillary is definitely corrupt to the core, and Trump has the potential to be even more corrupt than she is if he gets, that type of power. So I wouldn't be happy with either one of them, but I basically over the last couple of days resigned myself to the fact that the whole system is corrupt and there's nothing anybody can do about it. So you might as well enjoy what little time we have left. That's how I feel. And then I was like, and then I told myself at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because I'm the president of my own van. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's true.
I was going to say, whatever's going on, Carlos uses rationalization just to stay in the van.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm on a diet. Oh, I better not go out. Someone's going to give me a cookie. I'll stay in the van.
Yeah, I suppose it could be worse. We could be like Venezuela where they're worrying about buying toilet paper stuff, and no matter who becomes president here, we're not going to have to worry about that.
Are you even registered to vote, Carlos? Or
Yeah, I'm looking at my ballot right now, deciding if I'm going to burn it or not.
registered in the state of Georgia, I assume, or
Yeah, I did an absentee ballot, so I didn't have to drive home to get it. And I generally vote, but that's when I have somebody to vote for. It's really, I'm trying to think of the best way to use it. Like, I'm not voting for either one of these people. So maybe like Gary Johnson or something, or I don't know, Tupac. There's always the right end. So I don't know, but I'm definitely not voting for either one of them.
Steve's still hoping that Trump pulls out a miracle here, but
It's funny, like in the past, I was always in the same boat as you in terms of no matter what I do in Georgia, the Republican would always win. But I mean, Trump is so horrible that now, even Georgia's in play, which is crazy.
right.
Yeah. So the 1 year where my vote actually counts, I don't have anybody to vote for.
You just might set it on fire.
Yeah, I don't know. I may write Mike in.
There we go. Don't blame me. I voted for Rampage.
Yeah. You know what? I seriously thought about this. I may just write in term limits.
Term limits?
Yeah, we get enough people to vote for term limits. I think we'll have
I like that.
fewer issues with government.
The funny thing is now there's a few people at Oceans who do call me Rampage.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
I mean, mostly in a mocking way, as I've pretty much burned through my bankroll and I can't play 5-5 anymore. So, one of the 5-5 players, Rampage, saw me over there like $140 in front of me the other day.
What are you playing now? 2-3?
Well, we can I've had like a really, really bad stretch there. I've lost like $15K in cash over the last few weeks. And
Wow.
so, yeah, it's pretty bad. I might have so I got a whole new thing. I think it's going to be, I have someone who will back me at 2-3, by the way. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
I do not know how that works. We're supposed to go to dinner. It's I won't say it's kind of a buddy of mine, and it's almost an act of charity because he knows how distressed I am. So right there, it'll probably be a good deal for me. From what it sounded like, it's just like, well, I just put the hours in, and I give after 800 hours, you get a $2,500 bonus.
Okay.
So basically, yeah, he's not even taking a piece of my hourly. He's just assuming I don't. At the worst, I'd be break even there. So he just has me grinding the hours. So he makes $3 an hour while I'm there, essentially.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sounds like a very good deal. I don't know if Carlos would know better than I.
I wouldn't, but I agree that it does sound like a good deal for you. Are you guys gonna do a split on the 2,500?
No, we have to discuss that. I was assuming, I'm like, my God, if I can keep actually all the profits and he just gets the 2,500, that's a pretty good deal for me. And but he did want, he's got 10% of my action this weekend with no markup. So that could be something else that he would actually profit from from whenever I play live tournaments.
Right.
Yeah.
He gets a piece of me with no markup. That's a pretty good deal for him.
Sounds like a good deal. I also imagine that you'll be discussing hands with him, so that makes it even better.
Yeah, this guy's a real whiz. So just in terms of discussing hands, he would obviously be invested in me getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to go down in limits. It's funny. I was just, I think Carlos, you read the Mike Mattisau book, right? Check Raising the Devil.
No.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Well, beyond all his stories of like hookers and drugs and some of that stuff, a lot of it's just, basic poker stuff, like going down in limits. And he was just talking about, that's something that would lead to really bad times for him when he, had to run bad and then have to drop to lower limits and all that kind of stuff. But,
Yeah.
so it'll be a psychological adjustment.
Yeah.
And like I said, the $50 an hour that I had hoped for playing poker, looks like, kind of a little bit of a dream now, whether it's Bovada or, cash, $30 an hour. I have to take that deal right now.
Yeah. How's
which means long hours,
Yep.
how's the online grind going?
Nothing really too good to report there. My Ignition account, I put whatever it was, $1,000 in a month ago. And it's now, I've had it up to 4,000 something a few times. And then this past Sunday, only cashed one of like 14 tournaments and lost $1,600. So yeah, I keep thinking, like I said, I'm going to have a month where I tear shit up on that site. I still think I will, but,
You got to put it in the volume.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's the key. But basically, just since Vegas, it's not like I've lost that much money playing poker. I'm probably down 8,000. But then, of course, I took a trip to Mexico, then, gambled 6,000 in Vegas. So and then you add living expenses, then I'm, $30,000 poorer since I cashed that big tournament at the Wynn.
Yeah.
So I got to figure these things out.
Yeah.
Someone pointed out, you guys do this thing instinctively, Steve. I thought you'd be proud of me. Maybe I told you the other day. There's this application, I paid $3 for it, called Cash Trails on your phone.
Yeah.
Where you keep track of every nickel you spend. Like there's the one guy at the casino, he's the cheapest bastard there, which is funny. He drives like $100,000 car and doesn't, like when I buy lunch there or get lunch, I tip $5 because it's free. And he tips like $2. You know what I mean? This kind of stuff. But he keeps track of the tips and keeps it separate from this and and he shows me. But it'll be interesting after 30 days using it. I'll see what exactly my monthly expenses are and where I can trim it down,
Yeah. I did that, except I wrote it down in a budget book with a bunch of different columns. You got a dozen different columns, and one of them is rent, and the next one is utilities, and the next one is entertainment. And you just kind of go down the line and group them in as best you can after a month, so you kind of get a hang of, I should have this instead of this one. And that was pretty good for me because I was spending $450 a month going down, watching baseball, having dinner, and drinking beer. And after that, I adjusted and I ate before I left. Then I'd go down during happy hour and watch baseball and then come home instead of taking a cab. And I went from $450 a month down to $125, $150. So writing it down is really sobering because you realize exactly what you're spending on what,
And then you said, I'm going to get myself a beaner wife to work 3 jobs and pay all my bills. And that worked too.
Colombian.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I got a strategy hand here if you guys are in.
No, come on now. We got Carlos here. We got to find some more stuff here. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
This one's on Tournament Poker Edge. This one's from Jacob. He's playing in a 109. And right now he's got 22K and the blinds are 350, 700. So he's got, 30-ish bigs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So pre-flop, There's 7 players at the table. Hero is in middle position with ace of spades, 10 of clubs. There's 2 folds, under the gun plus 1 folds. And Hero's got ace 10 off suit, and he min raises to 1400. Then it folds around to the big blind, and he completes for 700 more. Pretty undebatable there, right?
How many bigs do we have?
31?
31, 32, something like that.
And the people, and you said we're middle position, like,
Hijack.
okay. And does the cutoff and button have us covered or no?
We've got 22K. The cutoff has 13, and the button has 70.
Okay.
Small blind has 12K, and the big blind, we're right about even with. He's also got 22K.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm going to base whether or not the button has been active. That's going to determine if I open this hand or not. So
Okay.
we don't have stats, do we?
No, we don't.
Okay. So I'm going to assume a big stack is going to be pretty active, so I may not even open this in a vacuum.
Okay. Let's say he's passive, though. You're not opening because you don't want to get 3-bet and have to fold.
I don't want to get 3-bet. I don't want to get flatted. This hand doesn't play that great post-flop. I think I'd rather have like Jack 10 suited than Ace 10 off here.
Okay.
Yeah, so unless I feel like I will open here if I feel like button is the type that would not get involved the majority of the time. Like if this, like I play against people on Bovada that flat like 40% of hands in this spot. Against those people, I'm not even opening this.
So that's funny. When you look at the villains here, you're not looking at the blinds as much as you are the button. Like I would immediately look at the blinds like they're fold to 2-bet and they're defend big blind numbers.
That plays.
You're more worried about the button.
Yeah, because I'm more worried about the people in position on me that have me covered, and also the people out of position, basically the blinds that are short stack. Because what's going to happen a lot here, in my experience, is button's going to call, and then somebody in the blind is going to squeeze. Either,
Right.
I don't remember stack sizes, but for the most part, all in, if they're like 25 to 30 bigs or less, I know that's what I would be doing. Like if I'm in the blinds and I got like 25 bigs, and your opening range from the hijack here is wide enough to include hands like ace 10 off, like maybe, I don't know, king jack off, stuff like that. If you open and I know that button's going to be flattened a lot, I'm probably shoving really wide thinking that you're not defending enough hands in your range. And also a button with a wide cold calling percentage is probably not protecting that range by calling with hands like aces, kings, queens that he can call a shove with. So his range is probably going to be capped out at like maybe tens or jacks, and then just a bunch of crap he has to fold.
Okay. That makes sense. What Jacob says here is he says this is a 109 50K Wednesday or high five series event on America's Card Room. We're still in registration. Starting stack is 10K and registration ends at the 500, 1000 level. ACR structures for the deep stack tournaments with huge prize pools always have a ton of levels early on to maximize the number of re-entries they get. That's very true. The next level is 4 and 800, then 450, 900, then 500, 1,000. So we're 3 levels away from getting out of the registration, and we've got a little more than double starting stack. But okay, so Jacob raises. He min raises to 1,400. The big blind calls, And then with ace of spades, 10 of clubs, the flop is ace of clubs, queen of clubs, 2 of spades. So we flop top pair with a weak kicker, and the big blind checks into a pot of 3,600. What are you guys doing here? Are you checking behind, or are you throwing out a bet, or what are you doing?
How deep is the big blind? How many bigs?
He also has 21 bigs.
I don't know why I thought you said we had 21K. We have 21 bigs, not 30.
Oh, I'm off. I'm sorry. We have 22K. The big blind has 22K. We've got him covered by about 300 chips.
So about 30 bigs.
Yeah, roundabout. Yeah, 31, 32, something.
Yeah, I bet probably a little bit on the half pot. I think he has a lot of weaker aces we can get value from, and any other pair that's on the board.
Okay, I like it. I think he's completing there in the big blind with a really wide range. If he's got any kind of broadways in there, he might give a call. Like you said, weak aces. I think a queen's calling here for sure. I like a bet too. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, we got the best hand 95% of the time. Let's see if the guy is willing to put some money in there.
Okay. Jacob bets half pot. He clicks the half pot button. He bets 1820 into 3640, and the big blind calls. So we go to the turn. There is 7,300 in the pot, and the turn's the queen of diamonds. So with ace 10 offsuit, the board is now ace queen queen 2, with the second queen coming on the turn. The big blind checks again. What are you guys thinking here?
Was there a flush draw on flop?
There was a club draw on the flop, and we have the 10 of clubs.
Okay.
Ace and queen are clubs on the flop.
And the card that's not a queen is what again? Ace, queen, what?
Queen of diamonds.
No, I mean the other card that's not a queen.
Oh, is it 2 of spades?
Okay, so I mean, probably betting again because that card. I mean, we still get value from. We're still ahead of like ace 3, ace 4. Like we're not chopping with any of those, so still can get value from the aces. Yeah, the dude could have a queen, but there's less combos of that now that there's 2 queens on board, so he's probably more likely to have a weak ace. So yeah, I would bet again.
Okay. What do you think, Mike?
I think I'd be checking here a lot just because I wouldn't know what the hell to do if you raised, especially at this stack depth.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking of a check back, and you do give a free card if he happens to have a club draw, but I don't want to see monsters under the bed here and think he's always got 2 clubs. And I'm kind of in the same boat. What do we do here if he check raises us? I don't know if fold's the right move there. Or...
Yeah, I'm folding fairly easy if I get check raised here.
Okay.
I'm thinking that most people, and again, this is where stats will help, but since we don't have those, I'm going to have to go by, I guess, the average villain. Like most people, if they have a club draw there, they'll raise it on the flop. And so when he raises on the turn, there's not many bluffs he could have. I don't think he's raising a weaker ace for value. I don't think he has many better aces in his range. A lot of those will just shove pre. Well, not shove. Ace Jack. I think Ace Jack probably just calls pre since we open from like sort of late position. Maybe Ace Queen with 3-bet. So I'm thinking that he doesn't have a lot of bluffs he could raise on the turn unless he's doing it with complete air. And again, I just don't expect the average villain to do that.
Okay. Yeah, so you're saying this is a bet fold then, and not a check behind?
Yeah, I like a bet fold. I mean, checking behind, only thing it's going to do is the only reason I think to check behind, if we check behind, we're bluff catching on the river. And I just don't think he has that many hands that he needs to bluff with. I think what happens here a lot when you check behind is he bets with like ace five or something. And then either he bets with ace five and you call and win, or he checks and then you bet with ace five. You bet and then he calls with ace five or something like that. And you get two streets where you may have been able to get three. And if there was a situation where there was more bluffs on the earlier streets, and I think I can pick off a lot of missed draws. I'm sorry, a case where there are a lot of draws on the earlier streets. I can see myself checking the turn to pick off bluffs from those missed draws. But in this case, I don't think we're inducing bluffs with a draw. I mean, with checking back. And also, I think I'm not worried about getting bluffed off my hand on the turn. I think if I bet the turn and he raises, he just has it. So I don't see that much of a downside to going for three streets here.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm convinced. The big blind checks on the turn, and then Hero Jacob bets 2,400 into 7,200, and then the big blind raises to 5,400, and then Jacob folds, and so maybe he played it well.
Well, I'm sorry. So the guy min clicked it. What did he bet?
No, he raised a little bit more than a min click. Jacob bet 2,400, and he made it 5,400.
Yeah, I think I played the same.
Okay.
It's one of those situations like what I read in the Ed Miller book, the course, I believe it was the one, where he basically talks about generally people don't bluff enough. So even if it's a situation, if this is the type of person who you think doesn't bluff too much, then even if he gets you every now and then, you're still better off just, believing him, because he's not doing this often enough to make folding a bad idea over, all the combos he would do this with.
Okay.
This is this is a $109 tournament in ACR. We should point out, so that means it's pro heavy. I mean, that doesn't mean that the guy's not bluffing here, but like on Bovada, this is an easy fold, right? They're never bluffing there,
right? Yeah. If I'm, I think that not knowing anything about the person, we just kind of have to go off of like the population, and I don't know, like, is the average person in these type of tournaments all just like sickos just bluffing with no backdoor equity or anything?
Well, he could have a small club draw or a gutter ball, or he's probably never turning a weaker ace into a bluff here. That wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
I mean, he's repping a queen, and he's got a lot of queens in his range. I agree, he probably has it. But I think a lot of it is due you're hamstrung by the stack size. Like if I have 100 bigs, I'm calling the turn and see what he does in the river.
You can call the turn, and then if he bombs the river, then it's an easy fold.
Yeah, and in this case, you're pretty much committed if you call here or getting close to it. This is why I need stats, man. I can't play poker. I can't play poker without reads. If this is somebody who bluffs too much, I'm always checking back and I'm always picking them off on the river. If it's somebody who doesn't bluff enough, I'm always taking the line Jacob took. In this case, I don't know which one it is, so I gotta kind of assume it's something in the middle, and I'm just gonna decide that the average person I play against doesn't bluff enough, so I'm gonna assume that this person is closer to the average than not.
Okay.
It is kind of noticing. I mean, if we go back to just whether to open this hand or not, Carlos and I studied with Jacob this Sunday. We went through a 12K. I won a Bovada. And where my raise first in was just, through the roof, like 40% for the whole tournament.
Was it six max or?
No.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, ace 10 from middle position is, it's a fist pump open. The whole, an ACR, I think you have to meet, the adage, open tight, 3-bet light. The ace 10 off might be like a neutral EV kind of open, but might be better saving those chips for, 3-betting with the king blocker.
Yeah, because
3-betting.
Does that make sense?
I'll put it this way. I'm definitely opening less often when I have around 30 bigs, because all it takes is for me to lose one pot and then for the level to jump. And now I'm getting into the danger zone where I may not even have enough fold equity on my 3-bet shoves. So Jacob loses this pot, and then if the level goes up, he may be getting close to 15 bigs or less, and that's going to limit some of the options he has going forward.
Okay. Yeah.
I do think, that's interesting. At this, like the 25 to 30 bigs, I find, especially if I'm multi-tabling, I just see, pocket fours, UTG 1, ace 10, UTG 2. You know what I mean? Like there's hands I'm just used to opening.
I would almost rather have.
Probably your opening range should be getting paired.
I would almost rather have queen jack off than ace 10 off here. Just something that's more connected, and I'm gonna have overs more often. I think the more connected the hand is, the better it plays post flop. Like, it sounds crazy to say this, but really, ace 10 off is just a 3-gapper.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You mean you'd rather have like 9-10 here, or 8-9 or something like that?
Suited, yeah. Like 8-9 off, I would just fold. But suited hands, I would. If it's suited, I can see myself opening 9-8 or maybe like 10-9, and I would probably open queen jack off, but I'm not sure about that. But I'm saying I would definitely rather have queen jack off or king queen off than ace 10 off.
Okay.
I would just amend that depending on the stack sizes behind you. If there was a couple, 8 to 10 big blind stacks where you were committed to calling a shove, then ace 10's a better open.
Yeah, especially because of the blocker. A lot of the hands people are going to be shoving on you includes aces. So yeah, I would want a blocker in that case. But like right away, I'm just thinking, especially when you min raise. Min raising for one, and also having a big stack on the button. Like, this hand is going to go post flop a lot, so I want a hand that plays better post flop than the one that we have.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you guys have any hands?
Yeah, I got a hand here. Okay. I can pull up.
Okay.
I actually had a bunch of cash hands, Steve, before I knew Carlos was going to be on here. But, deep stack cash questions are just so over the man's head. I don't want to embarrass him here. So.
That's very true. I really appreciate it.
I was twitching the other night, and I got pretty late in a 30K turbo.
Okay.
And they killed the guarantee. It was over 40K, well over 40K. So first place was about 9K. And I got in the money, and I was 4th out of 36 remaining.
Nice.
And it's so shallow, the average big blind is... Let me look at my screen. I got my own Twitch pulled up. The average stack is like 8.5 bigs with 4 tables to go. So, yeah, I got 19.5 bigs, and I'm like one of the big stacks here.
19.5 bigs. Okay.
Okay. 9-handed. I have pocket sevens. Oh, the big blind. It's the blinds are 2,500, 5,000. Although the big blind is already all in with less than a big blind in there, so that means there's a little less in the pot.
Okay.
And we are in the cutoff. and it folds around to UTG plus 3, low jack, I guess, who has 38,000 chips, which is 7.5 bigs.
Okay, and I'm assuming he shoves?
That player min raises.
Wow.
Off 7 bigs.
So he makes it 10K. Blinds are 2,500, 5K. He makes it 10K. So he makes it 2 bigs. Okay.
Hijack folds, and it's on us with 2 black 7s with 97,000 in chips, basically. So, like I said, 19.5 big blinds. And quickly to our left is a guy who has us covered in chips. He's got 115K. He's probably second or third in chips in the tournament. And then you have only 4. The small blind only has 5 bigs, and the big blind is all in. So Carlos is Captain Ignition here. What is the average guy?
What do you know about this person?
I do not have the HUD stats here. I think in game I remember commenting how he was an unknown. I just moved to his table or vice versa.
Is he like the shortest stack?
No. He has 7 bigs and he is third in chips at the table.
Wow.
I mean, this tournament is just. I mean, let's see. My God, there's the 2,500, 5,000. This has to be an anomaly. I'm just looking at the stacks. We have 3 people with under 1 big blind.
Wow. Just like every hand, you're losing somebody.
Table?
There's 4 tables left. We must have just made the money. I think.
Okay.
It was probably 36 got paid, maybe even. I think it was like 42 or 43. I can't remember. Probably 45. But yeah, I don't know what's going on here. This is just bizarre now that I look at this. But
I think I fall, especially if you said that you just made the money. Like, generally when people just make the money and they got short stacks, it's like they're just willing to gamble. So I would expect this guy would be shoving it in with a lot of hands. And a lot of those would be hands like, eights, nines, even sixes at that stack size are worse. And like for this guy to raise, it's almost like he wants action. Like he's not just trying to stick it in and take down the blinds.
Yeah.
Now against some people, what position is he in? You said like hot low jack?
yep.
So that's fairly early. Some people would go for steals off of this stack size in later position. But
Right.
I think earlier position, he's going to have a stronger range. So he's strong being early, raising off of that stack size from early-ish position. And he's strong. He's strong just given that he's in middle to early position. And on top of that, he's strong because he's raising small off of a 7 big blind stack. So I think that's like 2 strikes that gives me pause in his hand. And even if he has like 8-9, we're not loving life. So I don't mind a fold here.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking this is, had he shoved his 7.5 big blinds, I think I might be more likely to just rip over him and hope the button folds. And if the small blind comes along with his 5 bigs, then so be it. But since he just min raised, there's red flags going up in my head and alarm bells going off, and this just seems very unconventional. And this seems like somebody that's...
Well, if we think that's strong and not like a cute little steal, I mean, is he doing that with jacks or queens? Is he trying to induce someone to shove over his jacks? I mean, we're worried about what are we saying? We think the guy has aces.
I think he's strong, and that obviously include aces, but I can also see kings, maybe queens. Like generally people have a phobia with jacks, so maybe he just sticks that in. But what I'm saying is that overall his range, I think, has us in bad shape.
Yeah, you might be right. Especially like the unknown person on Bovada is not going to be. Although, like you said, it's not a bad spot because it looks so strong. Just to min raise off that stack.
Yeah. And it's almost like it's not the
And
end of the world.
the 7.5 bigs is like a meaningful amount of chips right now. So he's not really going to get shoved on light, but he's yeah. In game, I was confused by this. What exactly this meant?
It's a situation where if he shoves and he has like a strong range like we expect, maybe not even including ace king, it may just be all pairs that dominate us. Then if we call, it's the end of the world. But if he somehow is bluffing here and we fold, that's not the end of the world. At least I would want to wait until I get more information on what this means. Like if he continues to do stuff like this, then I'll do something about it later. But generally when I see stuff like this, it's a range that has sevens in bad shape.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now, I guess you guys both like the fold, but can you flat here for it would be about 40% of our chips, just in case we're worried that the button might wake up with a hand? Or if you're going to play it, you're just going to shove it, right?
Well, it shouldn't be 40% of our chips, right? You have 19.5 bigs, and he just raised to 2?
No, I'm saying if we raise him and we commit to his stack. Yeah, I guess we could just call too. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just talking about like raising without shoving, so we could fold to the big. We could fold to the button.
Okay, you make it 4 or 5 big blinds, and then you can fold to the button. But if the small blind shoves or the opener rips, then...
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was thinking like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably good. And given that he min raised, I think I like that better than a call. So yeah, you could probably just click it.
Yeah, make it 20K.
Well, I shoved, and of course the button snap called with ace king, and won the hand.
Really?
Always.
The other guy snap folded, so I guess he didn't think about it. So it's not like he had. Yeah, I guess he was still in light.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
If you want to see me go absolutely fucking bonkers, you can watch the last few minutes of my last Twitch stream.
I may just do that.
Because I was just fucking pissed off, and I was trying to convince the 3 people that are watching me that I played it properly. So I put it in an equity calculator and tried to explain that. I mean, what's the button's range for reshoving there or for calling my shove? With 3 people at the table with 1 big blind, is it 10s plus?
Probably, maybe nines, but I wouldn't call with. I would fold 8s. I would definitely call 10s plus, and then 9s I would maybe call, maybe not.
Yeah, 9s would be a decision. I think
against
10s
you,
would be
probably
easy.
getting in with 9s. You're generally aggressive.
Oh.
Basically, you're looking at max like 6% of hands. So that this is how I set it for the hand. This was like at the maximum, like a 6%. Well, of course, if he's calling with ace king and ace queen, I even run. It's probably like a 4% chance that I actually bust this hand. And, I busted that hand. So 36th place, and, that's just, I was fucking outraged. That sucked.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I hate those spots.
Yeah. Now, can we call there? Can we just call 2 big blinds and then see what the button does? If he does anything, then we dump it. If the small blind ships 5 bigs and then the original opener calls, then we call as well. Or is calling just too weak?
I'm thinking.
I mean, are we
call,
set against a guy with 7 bigs?
No, the money's going in on the flop regardless. But I'm just saying we just call there, so it costs us even less if the button. But see, then he could be raising pretty light, and then we're letting go of 7s without. Yeah, maybe the move is clicking it back. He makes it too big. The opener makes it too big, so we make it 4, and then we see what the button does.
I think if you flat, you almost have to call if the button shoves.
Yeah, because he could be doing that.
Because I think he can be shoving. Yeah, he could be shoving like 6s and 5s and stuff like that. Whereas if you raise, I don't think he's 4-betting with that stuff.
I think it's shove or fold. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It feels kind of silly to have these long discussions about these kind of spots, but this is really what Bovada is, right? Getting
Yeah.
this shit right. What to do against the 7 big blind
Yeah.
open,
Yeah. This is also important if you ever play at the win, because people will definitely do this at the win. Raise folding off of these short stacks. What I found is there's a lot of people like this that they just want to cash. It's like they don't care how many bigs they get into the money with. They just want to cash. And so, and it sucks for everybody else that if you're like it's great for the big stacks, but if you're like a medium stack and you're trying to actually win the tournament, like they really screw you because of ICM, because these short stacks just won't bust because they just won't put their chips in.
They're
unless
folding
they feel
down
like
to 2 or 3 big blinds. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
had
forget
a guy.
exactly what you.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say Carlos had a moment of inspiration while we were studying this past Sunday watching this, and you're like, okay, this is how I'm now going to play in the win here. You're talking about how like just you can barrel people with small bets.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm definitely going to try.
I forget what you're saying exactly. I don't know if you can come up with an example.
It's like, okay, so the tournament that I played at the win this weekend or last weekend, there were guys at the final table calling in position with like 10 bigs. So like somebody will open for like min raise. Guy will call in position with 10 bigs. The original raiser was C-bet, maybe like 2 or 3 bigs. The guy would call again. And then on the turn, the first guy would check, and then the other guy would they would either check it down or he would bet at some point, and the guy has like ace jack or something. And I'm thinking, like the guy who called has like ace jack. I'm thinking if these guys are just not willing to get it in pre-flop with ace jack for 10 bigs, then I think I'm just going to start opening a lot and then just like betting like third pot. It's just like whatever chips they got left, just like 2 bigs on the flop, 3 bigs on the turn, maybe like 3.5 bigs on the river. So
it's almost like playing against old school limit hold'em guys, where like 10 big blinds is like 10 big bets to them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean, we can call here. I still have three more streets I can see here.
And what's great about it is it almost never has to work. Like if I can get a guy to kind of either float me or call with a pair that ends up like maybe he flops top pair, but he don't want to get it in because he's worried about his kicker. And by the turn of the river, he's got like second or third pair and he's willing to fold it. It's like I may bet 15% of the pot on the river, which represents like probably 30% of the chips he has left because he's been babysitting that small stack. And it almost never has to work on my end. But for him, obviously, he has to be right. Well, actually, no, he don't even have to be right that often to call, but I just don't think they will. Like I see guys that will flat that raise with like Jack 10, and then the flop is 10 high, and they won't get it in, and they got 10 bigs. And let the turn be a queen, or a king, and now on the river, they got a decision with third pair with like 4 bigs left, and they find a fold. So I'm just going to start min betting 3 streets, basically. And I'll report back and see how it goes, but I just got to find something to do against these people, because if you don't do something, then if you're a medium stack, the blinds are going up. You're not winning that many pots because the big stacks are opening everything, obviously, and you can't do anything because you're handcuffed by the short stacks. So by the time you get into the money, or by the time the short stack busts, you're also a short stack now because they've kind of brought you down with them. So
you probably could bet. You probably have a lot of spots where you see bet or 3-bet, and the villain's tanking and thinking what to do, and they don't even ask how big your bet was. How much is that?
Yeah.
They're not even thinking about that. They're just thinking, oh my God, am I beat here?
Yeah, I saw a guy open 3x off of an 8 big blind stack with 9s and ended up checking it down and losing on the river because I don't know why. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like the easiest shove in the world. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't get it, man.
Well, that's why we're able to make money.
Yep.
I suppose sometimes. Not me. Not right now. Hopefully turn it around here this weekend.
Do you have one, Carlos?
I do.
Carlos has got a dying phone and a need for sleep.
No, I'm fine. I don't know if my phone is dying or not because I'm afraid to touch it to check it because it's actually connected to the. I feel like if I press the power button to turn it on to see how much
Something's
battery's
gonna
left,
turn
it's
on.
gonna instantly die from firing up.
We can wrap up here if you guys.
But this,
I want to hear a little bit about. I want to hear a little bit about Carlos at the Grand Canyon.
No, you don't. It's okay. I'll give you the gist of it. So we get there, and it's pretty cold up there. Like, the temperature is way different because of the elevation. So it's cold, and we walk to one area of it, and you look over in there, and it's like the most majestic thing you ever seen. It's like, amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is great. And you kind of sit there for like 5 or 10 minutes, and you take it in. And then you walk a little bit down to another section of it, and you look in there and you say, wow, this is great. And then you walk down some more and you say, well, and after a while you realize I'm just looking at the same shit over and over again. And so really, you only need to be there like 10, 20 minutes tops. But, you have to drive from Vegas. You have to drive like 4 hours to get there. So you don't want to drive 4 hours to look at something for 20 minutes and leave. So we ended up basically walking the length of the thing, just looking down. Oh, there's more rocks. Oh,
Still a giant hole.
Exactly.
And after, and I'm thinking like, let's go. But we ended up staying there for like, 3 hours, I think, just walking and like rubbing sandstone. Like they got like little pieces you can rub. And I'm thinking like, yeah, I've seen it. I got it off the bucket list. It's not something I would do. It was fun hanging out with my friend, but just being there is cool, but it doesn't take 3 hours to see it, basically.
Yeah.
Right. I was wondering, because I remember meeting some woman in a bar while I was driving across country in New Mexico and up at the Grand Canyon. And she's like, yeah, it's just a big hole in the ground. Just like unimpressed
the
by
part
it.
I think that's amazing about it is that a little river found a soft spot in the sand millions of years ago, and it's just never stopped eating it away. And the damn thing is a mile across or however wide it is, and it's damn near a mile deep. If I don't know the numbers, but it is really impressive what running water can do over millions and millions of years. I thought that was cool.
Right. That is impressive, but that's impressive with I know that's impressive without actually having to see it or having to see it 12 different times in one day as you walk along it. So
No, I did look at a map, and it's about the same distance, I think, from San Diego. Maybe I think it's a little farther. But I remember looking on the map. Well, is there anything place that's cool I can bring Jonah to on the way? Like a water park even, 2 hours. And it's nothing.
There is something.
Right?
There is something. I don't know exactly where this is. You have to look it up on the map. But there's some type of, actually, I think maybe 2 of them nearby there, like wild animal safaris. I think he would love that.
Yeah.
I'll get the information for you. It's similar. If you ever saw the video of me driving through feeding those animals, it's similar. It's similar to that, but I don't think it's. I don't know if it's a drive-through one, but I'll get the information to you. Of course, she didn't want to do that.
That sounds cool. Yeah, eventually, I do want to see it.
That's the type of thing I'd rather do. Something that's not like staring at the same rock over and over again. Like I'd rather go to a zoo,
right,
or something like that. So, yeah, I think I love wild animal safaris.
Yeah, well, of course, we got a great safari park in San Diego, too. But I'm like Carlos. I think more than the Grand Canyon, I get more excited about showing up at a wind tournament and seeing 3 75-year-old guys with cowboy hats, falling asleep at the table.
Yeah.
Yes. Ordering a steak.
That will make you wipe a tear out of your eye and just marvel at nature.
Yeah. If you ever get a chance, go to the Win. The Win. Not only is it the softest games, it's also like one of the most well run rooms I've played in.
Yeah, it's great.
Plus at midnight, for those of you that are interested in this, it basically turns into a Kardashian factory.
So true. Every time you go to the grocery store or whatever, you see girls that are just like 9.5 all day long, just bolt-ons.
That's a little young for me, Steve. Oh wait,
that was a good one.
Sorry.
That was good.
I actually have a funny. Well, I'm working on my memoir. Should I save it? But I had a debacle of an evening the other night. This is the night where I lost like 5,800. I fired 2 bullets. I was felted 5 times. I can't blame it on the alcohol, but I got really drunk. And I won't even discuss it. Well, I fired 2 bullets in their 50K, then sat down at 5-5 and lost like 4,000 there. Then went. I don't even want. This is a long story. There's a woman there. Well, Carlos is already like deliberately hitting his phone with a mallet just so he doesn't have to listen to this story because he listened to a few of them in the summer.
I'm actually about to bleach bit my phone.
Oh. Anyways, beautiful woman. I had met her a few weeks ago, and it's one of those things where we played briefly, and as she's leaving, she like, her eyes locked, whatever. I knew, I thought she wanted to talk to me. So she comes in this night that I'm losing all this money at 5-5, and she's like, just very, she's like, give me your phone, Mike. And she came over and, put her number in there for me. She's like, come over and play this other table. And I went over there. I'm like, let's go to the bar first and have a margarita. And she's all flirting with me and da-da-da. And we go back to the table. Okay, let's play some poker. Let's make some money. And like the very first hand I open and she donk leads into me on a, I've got like Jack Queen on, it's like, I have nothing on the flop. It's like King. And she donk leads into me and I raise it. Like she bets 10 and I bet like 80 on a 2-3 table. And then she folds and I show the bluff. So basically,
What a
I mean, you won't even believe if I showed you these texts Carlos would have, because in my mind I was flirting and being good for, and because she told at one point I opened pocket 8s and she just flatted with kings. And because she's like, I felt bad for you because I lost the money, because we went to the bar and had another drink and there's another time I check raised her with 9-7 on like an ace king 7 board, and then I turned to 9, and then I bombed it, and then anyway I won like a $400 pot offer after sucking out, and she's just shaking her head. She's like, you and I are just different people. It took me like an hour and a half of just playing like this wild poker. I thought I was, but I did loosen the game up, and but then she got really unlucky with me. We got it all in kings against jacks. I had jacks and hit a straight. And it was at this point I was already like, she's like, I was going to show you what I had. So I could sense that the night was going bad, but she looked at me. She's like, you do realize you fucked up, don't you? And we go to the bar, and we were chugging. I had like 8 margaritas in like an hour and a half. I was absolutely toasted. So for me, I just don't drink that much anymore. So we go to the bar, and I'm like, "What are you talking?" She's like, "Man, I could have been so good for you." This chick is like really hot. I'll have to show you. I'll have to get some pictures from me, yeah, she's just like, well, I don't. She's like, I thought we were having fun. We were making, because she was texting me. I went back and looked at the text. She's like, let's make some money together. Like we'd be working together. And I'm just fucking like raising her with Jack 6 and check raising with 9-7. But at the end of the night, so I moved seats to sit next to her, and I'm like kind of trying to flirt with her, and it's just not working at this point. She actually put her headphones on, so to stop talking to people. She was just getting killed. She was losing money. And Yeah, well, what did it? But the final like text she sent me was she's like, I'm just not into poker anymore. I just really didn't know this is what all the poker players are like. So it'd be kind of. She thought it was, and I'm like I'm always like telling Steve this. Like I'm kind of half shocked by some of the things I see in the card room. I mean, the conversation we had at Alex, just like manipulating, dumb people to come give their money. I feel uncomfortable with that. I see myself as Mr. Moral, Mr. Sensitive, but I tried to be the alpha male in front of her, I'm like trying to be like fucking Tom Dwan,
Didn't work.
I thought she'd be impressed by that, but no.
Yeah, I think she would have liked it better if you was taking somebody else's money.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, it's like my social cues, like she's getting slowly frustrated. And it's like 2 hours into it when she actually puts her headphones on and is staring at me. I'm like, something went wrong here.
Maybe I went wrong somewhere here. I went left and I should have gone right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But then it was, the whole scene. But then at the end, I tried to make up for it. I mean, it's like, I don't even want to. Thank God there's not a camera around. I think I was on the verge of tears because I'm going out to her car and she's like, I really came in want to get to know you. I'm like, I want to know you. I'll be crushed if you leave here without the. And she's like, I'm sorry.
You shouldn't have shown
say whatever you want. I'm just
she's
not,
like, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was your first mistake.
Yeah, I showed it to her, and the first night we played together, there was some, some drunken jackass who was talking to her and like, hey baby, I'm like, dude, come on, just cut the shit out. I was kind of but now I was the drunken ass this time. But on the way out, I was like begging her, like, Debbie, don't, I'm like, I'm sorry and this and that. She's like, I'm sorry, and she's, I'm not interested. But she leaves, and then I'm like texting her. The funny thing is, that was another thing where she's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, well, we get some nachos. And then I start hearing her talk about like, it turns out my buddy's like, dude, do you realize that chick is like a millionaire? Like she's rich or something.
Really?
I don't know how, but she's talking about to someone else about all these restaurants in Santa Barbara, and she's a gourmet chef and stuff. I'm like, hey baby, you want some nachos?
There goes your sugar mama.
This was like, I need low hanging fruit, as Carlos said here. But the final text she gave me was, yeah, I'm home safely. This will be the last text I send to you. You do not need to respond. Good luck at the tables.
All you had to do.
Always a great text.
All you had to do was just give her a walk. And you blew it.
Yep.
You chased away. You bluffed your sugar mama right out of your life. This is what you've been looking for. This is what you've been looking for this whole time. This is the solution to the downswing.
That was exactly.
Well, I don't want a sugar mom. I wouldn't want to, but it was kind of funny. Like I was trying to like impress her with like, oh, high roller poker player, where she just comes in and plays 2-3 once a month just for fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is just fucking around, and she's not impressed by someone who's there to like slit other people's throats for $9.
I think your only play here is the next time she comes in, you got to be like, hey, I made a total ass of myself, last time I saw you. I hope that doesn't, I hope you don't hold it against me, have fun tonight. And then show no interest. And don't text her, don't call her. I think that's your only window right there. Is just because if you show interest, then she's just going to put on the brakes and she's going to backpedal. If you show no interest, then you have a chance, because it's kind of like, all people want what they can't have. And I think it's probably only got a chance of maybe 8 or 10% of succeeding, but at least it's a shot. If you keep texting or calling, then you have no chance.
So I should fire the private detective I have following her around at this minute.
Well, you might want to keep that going. Just make sure he's really good and she doesn't like put two and two together. You know what I mean?
Oh, damn. I told the guy I couldn't pay him. I gave him a Rampage Poker sweatshirt instead, and he's probably wearing it. So.
Oh, yeah, that might not be the best move. Yeah. Yeah,
Steve, I wish you were there. You probably would have put the kibosh on this from the beginning.
I would have gently slipped a napkin over top of your second or third margarita. Told the bartender, make this one a virgin.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't blame it on the alcohol. I'm just a dope.
It's all good.
But yeah, no, I'm not giving up. No, but actually, I did text her today, and I'm like, I know you said not to text again, and she's like, no, I just said I was done texting. I meant that night. So, and then I apologized, and she said, well, maybe we can become friends. So
Give her a walk next time.
I know. Well, now I know that.
Live and learn. That's what life is. It's all these little lessons.
I mean, Kate Hall might find the check raise with the 9-6 sexy. I don't know. I thought this woman would too, but
apparently not.
So just for those of us who want to visit Carlos in Vegas, let's just make it clear. If you want to go there and talk about poker, he's fine. But if you call up and say, I'm having women problems and I'm lonely, he has phone problems. It's hard to communicate.
Much. Yeah. I don't concern myself with unimportant thing like human interactions.
But that was funny. I think I talked about this, basically living with Carlos as a roommate for a month. Like, I'd come in and talk about some, trivialing hand, and then, he'd get excited. It could be like 3 a.m. He'd pop up out of bed.
Poker.
Yeah, and I'd even fall asleep, and I can still hear him talking. Well, your range here is that I'm like, But then, I'd come in one night, drunk and despondent. It's like, oh my God, I don't think she cares about me. And Carlos is just staring at me blankly. He's like, well, maybe you should go take a walk and get yourself an ice cream and be by yourself for a few minutes and relax.
I mean, 7 days in a week, Mike falls in love at least 9 times. So you can't really show compassion once you get past Wednesday.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it really is pretty ridiculous how often it happens. In Vegas in the summer, there's a lot of pretty gals running around. Thankfully, there's not too many of them at Ocean's 11, so I don't have this emotional experience all the time. But
only 3 times a week.
With this woman, it's happened.
Yeah. Right on. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up here, boys. You guys want to throw out your Twitch stream?
Twitch.tv/Carlos Welch. I'm actually starting to stream regularly again, so be on the lookout for that.
Right on.
Carlos, we got episode number 100 on here coming up soon, so I don't know if you're interested, Steve. Well, Steve's in charge of these
Let's
things.
Do it. Yeah. Maybe we can get Doug on too.
What episode is this?
This is 98. We're 2 weeks away from episode 100.
Cool. I'm in.
Right on. Cool. All right. Well.
Okay. I might see you actually in a couple of weeks, Carlos. I think I might come up there for that. I think heading up. I was originally, Steve, going to go to the Lake Tahoe WSOP circuit, but that just seems with the rake and just the hotel. It's hard. The hotel's not cheap and all that kind of shit. Maybe go to Venetian and play a couple deep stacks instead during that time.
Yeah.
So
it'll be fun.
Yeah. Someone was telling me you were thinking about Tahoe. I don't remember if it was Scott Stewart or who it was, but somebody mentioned that. But you're probably going to do Vegas instead.
I have to see. I mean, I've got some money issues here. I gotta look at things, but
right on.
I'm getting some itchy for some live poker here for sure. So
good deal. Right on. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to get your free MP3, go to HeadsUpPoker.Poker. Click on the Support Us tab. You can get a free Elliott Rowe 7-minute tilt buster. You listen to it before you play. And check out Mike and Carlos's Twitch stream. There'll be links in the show notes. And thank you for tuning in. Here is your weekly motivational speech.
You've been lied to. You've been led to believe that you're supposed to win all the time. You're not going to. And sometimes you have to walk away. If you keep chasing what you're not meant to succeed at, and what life was just putting in front of you so you could just get a small lesson from an experience. You were supposed to just feel it and learn. And if you keep chasing it, you're going to become addicted to the wrong thing. And you're going to miss the lesson.